Today on my show, Rock and Recovery, I'm going to talk about trauma and how we deal with it. Childhood trauma, the trauma that led us to the side effect of addiction. Because addiction really is a side effect. I mean, nobody starts out just being addicted to more, addicted to drugs, alcohol, whatever, porn, whatever it is, gambling. There's caffeine. There's so many different forms of addiction out there. And today we're going to talk about what led us to the addiction. So recovery, the opposite of recovery is connection, of course. We all know that. But why are you recovering? What are you recovering from? You would say the addiction, but I would say you need to recover from the trauma first. Yes, it's easier to deal with when you're sober, but now that you're sober, you've got to deal with everything that you stuffed down, everything that you hid from everybody, everything that you couldn't deal with yourself. So what'd you do? You found a temporary solution to deal with it. And dealing with it, that's the hard part. All right. So we got all this shit bottled up, whatever the case may be, whatever kind of trauma it is, you got all this shit bottled up. And now it's just sitting there. You really haven't worked on it. You can't let it go. Well, the biggest thing you can do is ask for help. I know we asked for help in our addiction. We had to. Our trauma is what caused the side effect of addiction. We were addicted to drugs, alcohol, not feeling the trauma. That's what we got addicted to, is not feeling the trauma. Now, depending on what form of trauma, you might have to see a therapist. But here's the thing. You can deal with it by letting other people know what happened. If you let other people know, it can't scare you anymore. It's out in the open. It's out in the open. The more you talk about it, the more you can let it go. And that's the biggest thing, is learning how to let it go. I've got a book on it. It's called Learning How to Let It Go. And that's the biggest thing you can do. I mean, you talk about it, you deal with it. One thing comes up, and then the next, and the next, and you see that you bottled so much because you can't let anything go, because we're just not wired that way to just let it go. We either don't want to deal with it, or we put it off, or we wait till later, and it never works for anybody. When the biggest thing is, if you're working on your trauma, and you will work on it one way or another, whether it interrupts your life or not, you're always going to face it. You're always going to have to face it, but you can learn how to let it go. Yeah, just like the song, the musical, the Ice, whatever it was, you got to let it go. And sometimes that's writing it down. You journal a bunch of journaling. Sometimes that's talking to a good friend. Frozen, that's a song. Thank you, Haley. But Frozen, but sometimes you got to talk to a friend and work through it. And sometimes you just got to forgive yourself because it wasn't your fault. That's what it takes. You got to ask for forgiveness, and then eventually forgive that person, because it wasn't your fault that this trauma happened to you anyway. It was not your fault. You did nothing to deserve this trauma. Nothing. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if you think that your value is so low that you think that you deserved it or not. You did not deserve it. Nobody deserves trauma. Trauma comes in all shapes or forms. Nobody deserves it. Nobody deserves to have to live a life filled with trauma. Nobody deserves to have to keep that trauma inside and let it bleed out onto other people. And that's the biggest thing. Don't let your traumas be an excuse for you to treat somebody like dog shit, because all you're doing is transferring your trauma to them. And that hurts. It hurts so many times. It hurts when you start transferring your trauma to somebody else. Now you just created a cycle. It's that generational trauma. If you're going to transfer it to potentially your kids, your partner, your best friend, if you do that, shame on you, because there is no excuse not to work on your trauma other than being scared. That's the biggest thing. Fear, and the fear of maybe somebody won't like me because of this. Maybe I'll get judged worse because of this, because it happened to me, not because of me, but it happened to me. That's the biggest fear right there. That's the biggest thing that we got to deal with, is when people are in your corner, the people that know you, the people that trust you, the people that have been around and seen you have hard times and good times and bad times, they're going to trust you. They're not going to judge you. They're not. I talk to people all the time. Do I judge them? No. Do I know half of them? No. But still, I'm not going to judge them. I'm not going to think any less of that person, because trauma didn't happen because of you. It happened to you. Big difference. You don't deserve it. It was not your fault. If you're dealing with trauma right now, it wasn't your fault. It wasn't your fault. You did nothing to deserve it. It was not your fault. It was a defect in that other person. That other person had something traumatic in their life that they never realized and never worked on. And they're just passed along. They just passed along. It's a big, huge cycle. That's why they say breaking generational curses starts with you. Me. Starts with the next person. Break the generational curse of that trauma by working on it, by letting it go. And it's hard to let things go because we've held on to them for so long. I'm in my 40s, so I've held on to shit for so many years that it's hard to let it go. But once you start letting it go, you'll feel better about yourself. Your self-esteem, your self-worth, your self-value will all go up. You'll start to feel better about yourself. You'll start to see things in a different perspective. Your happiness comes back. Your happiness, your peace, your tranquility, it all starts coming back, because it really never left you. It just starts all coming back. You're able to talk about things without the fear of judgment, without that fear of being judged, of having somebody else think worse of you to bring you down a notch or two. You put yourself in a position, you surround yourself with better people. That's number one. Surround yourself with good people. All right. If you're surrounded by good people, that's a good start. People that you trust, people that you love, that love you just for being you. That's a good start. And then you start letting that go. Talk to a therapist. Therapist, I recommend. I don't like them, but I recommend them. They work. For me, it was a whole bunch of soul searching and asking my higher power, which is Jesus Christ, to help me. And guess what? If you put in the work, he's going to help you. But you got to put in the work. You have to put in the work yourself. You have to take the first steps. You have to be the change that you want. I know. Hard work, right? We don't like work. It sucks. But you have to be the change that you want to see. Change starts with who? You. It doesn't start with me. It starts with you. I can tell you all the ways that you can deal with your trauma, but until you start taking those steps, until you start searching yourself, until you start learning to let it go, then what's the point? You've got to want to let it go. Now, if you're listening now and you're trying to let go of trauma, ask for help. If you can't do it, it's going to bring up a lot of bad memories. It's going to bring up a lot of bad situations, memories of why you decided to bandage it with a drug or alcohol or whatever the case may be. It's going to happen. It's going to bring up all this shit that you have to remember now, and it's going to bring it to the surface. So you got to be in a strong position. You got to be with strong people that aren't going to judge you, that aren't going to think less of you, that want to be with you, that want to be around you, that want the best for you. And then you can start talking about it. Journal about it. Write it down on a piece of paper and burn that bitch. Who cares? Who cares? It's your trauma. You can either let it go or hold on to it. But you do have to find the right people. And it could be people that you've just met, that you've built a relationship with over time. And watch their actions, not their words, but watch their actions. Actions speak louder than any word out there. I can say one thing and do one thing totally different. My actions will match my words. When you see people's actions start matching their words, you can put a little trust in them that they're going to be like that their whole entire life. Or, because you know what? If you're walking in faith and in integrity, if you have an integrity is doing the right thing even when nobody's watching. So if you're living your life by integrity and walking in faith, then you'll notice the people that are doing the same thing. You'll want to be around the people that are doing the same thing. Being integral, being peaceful, being graceful. Grace is freely given. It's freely gotten and it's freely given. So give yourself grace as you're going through this trying to let it go thing. Give yourself grace. Give yourself peace. Learn to let it go. Write it down. Journal about it. Talk about it. Talk about it. And I will keep telling you to talk about it. Talk about it through with people that you can trust, that aren't going to bring you down, that want to see you rise up, that will lift you up, that will hold you up, that will carry you through the rough times. Talk about your trauma with these people, the people that care for you, that want to help you let it go, that want to see you rise up, rise above the trauma, that want to see the best things possible from you throughout life. And that's right. Give yourself the grace that you gave others. That's a very good point, Sheila. Thank you. And you know what? Once you start doing that, you'll physically feel the effects of it. You will physically feel it, the effects of giving yourself grace and working with your trauma and letting it go. You'll physically feel lighter. You will. This burden that you've been carrying for however many years will start to leave. And you can actually physically feel it. It's not this weight holding you down. It's a weight lifted off your shoulders, as they say, and it's true. You get a new step in life. You get a new look on life. You start looking at things in a different way. And you know what? Once you're able to work through some of this, traumas, you start feeling better about yourself. Who doesn't want to feel better about themselves? No, come on. I want to feel good about myself, right? I know you guys do too. You want to feel good about yourself. It is very, very freeing. So if you're trying to work through your trauma, remember, don't bleed on people. If you're bleeding on people, shame on you. That just means you haven't taken the steps to work through your trauma. That means you're comfortable in your own shit. You're comfortable with hurting others because you've been hurt. It's not your fault. If you're dealing with trauma, it is not your fault. It happened to you, not because of you. Remember that. It happened to you, not because of you. You didn't deserve it. You didn't set out in life wanting trauma. You didn't set out in life wanting the abuse, whatever it happens. You didn't set out in life wanting that. You did nothing to deserve it. Yeah, okay, so sometimes we got a smart mouth and blah, blah, blah. It doesn't matter. It don't matter. There's other ways to deal with things. Somebody else just chose the quick, violent, that's easy way to deal with something. And you know what? It's shitty. It happens to people. Maybe it happened to you because, now you can talk to somebody else about it. Maybe you can help somebody else through their trauma. Maybe you can help somebody else let it go. Maybe you can help somebody else be the change. maybe you can relate on a different level to this person, level that nobody else could, because you went through similar situations. Maybe. So you got to learn to let it go, not only for your benefit, but for everybody's around you. Because if you think that you don't affect everybody else with your trauma, well, I would say you're the true liar. Because if you're sitting in trauma and you're dealing with people daily, you're talking to people, you're around people, yes, you can mask a lot. Sure can. It's really easy to mask. But eventually it comes out in your actions and your words. Your words could be, hey, today's a great day. Yeah, as you're walking in an angry way. There's just certain ways your actions, your body language, communication is mostly body language, nonverbal. And if you're walking through the day and I can see you across the street and you're walking in an angry way or a unresponsive way, I would say your day's not doing that great. There's something on your mind, there's something bugging you. It's so easy to communicate non-verbally that you don't even realize that you're doing it. So if you're talking on the phone to somebody, they could be telling you a whole different thing than what's really going on, and you'll never know. And that's the problem. Is we can tell, if you're talking on the phone and you've known this person for years and years, you can tell when things are going the right way and when things ain't. Their tone of voice, their the language that they speak, it does. The language that they speak, just the tone of voice, the pronunciation of words, the different words. If you're in tune with these people and you've been talking to them for years, let's say, or even months, then you know what words and how they speak, the verbal, whatever, the pronunciation, how they pronounce it, the tonality of their voice, what they're going through. You can tell when they're happy, you can tell when they're sad, you can tell when they're depressed. You can tell these things just by looking at the person. If I get it all the time, I look off sometimes. I do. And somebody will tell me, Jay, are you okay? That's just somebody that knows that's doing okay themselves, that are in tune, because it's not my language. It's my body action. It's my verbiage. My tonality, the way I use words, the way I present myself and carry myself. You're going to know. And, if you're working through your trauma, take it slow. Don't expect miracles overnight. Don't do it. Don't set yourself up for failure. If you're thinking that, I visited the therapist once or twice, I'm good, I am golden, I worked through all my problems in one visit. Liar. I'm just saying, don't be that person, because you're just fooling yourself. You're not fooling anybody else. Don't be that person. It's going to take more than just one visit. It's going to take some work. You got to be present to do it. And being sober helps you get through the trauma, because now you're not masking it. Now you're not hiding it. Now you're not, just putting on airs. My mom used to call them putting on airs, or my grandparents put them on airs. I'm not calling anybody out. Nobody am I calling out. This is an FYI, a PSA, public service announcement from Jay and Rock and Recovery. Just work through your trauma. Don't hurt the next person, and try to help somebody else. That's it. You don't have to bleed over everybody every single day because you don't want to work on your trauma. Yes, it's difficult. It happens. Yes, you can get through it. Why? Because you've got a freaking 100% survival rate of working through bullshit. 100% survival rate of going through all your tough times. 100. If you're alive today, right now, you've got a survival rate of 100%. You've dealt through all this other shit. You've gone through all this fucking all this bullshit in your whole entire life. And guess what? You're still walking and talking and, well, rolling if you just happen to roll, but you're still there. You're 100% survival. Yeah, it's tough times. Yeah, the road's bumpy. But guess what? You adapted and you overcame, and you're still winning because you're alive and you're wanting the help. That means you're winning. That's it. You're a winner. You're sober. You're working on your traumas, or you're trying to work on your traumas, and you're winning. Isn't that what life's about? We're going to win. If you're alive today and you're working on your bullshit, you're winning. If you're alive today trying to work on your bullshit, guess what? You're winning. If you're alive today, sober, not hurting anybody, and trying to work on your bullshit, you're fucking golden. Come on. Nobody could ask anybody anything. Nobody could ask anything more of you as a person. Nobody could ask anything more of me as a person other than to do what I'm doing, because I'm winning. Y'all are winning. We're all winners right now, you know? And if you're out there listening and you're going through troubled times, you're going through hard times, you're going through difficult decisions, guess what? Life does suck sometimes, but you know, sober life really sucks a whole lot less than, not sober life. Just saying, you know, and you've still got 100% success rate, 100% success rate. Who could ask for more? I mean, they're MLB. Everybody wants a bat in 1,000. That means you don't miss nothing. You get on plate 1,000 times or 100% of the time. You're batting 1,000 right now. You're batting 1,000. And guess what? You're winning. You're doing the right thing. You're helping somebody else not be stuck in their garbage, not be stuck in there. You're helping somebody else get out of it. You're helping somebody else survive. Just by you being the winner that you are, you're helping somebody else do the same thing, because they see you and they say, damn, I know her. She's had it hard. I know him. He's had it fucking hard. Look at they're doing it. What? I think I can do that too. You're helping. You're helping. And so here's my tips on trauma. Jay's tips on trauma. 1, they suck. 2, it's not your fault. It didn't happen because of you. It happened to you. So that's number 2. 3, get a therapist. Get somebody, and I'm not talking a paid therapist. A therapist could be a trusted person that'll just sit there and listen while you talk. Not even give advice, but just sit there and listen while you talk. That's a therapist. I could probably Google it and it'd say something about the same thing. But a therapist can be a person. A therapist can be just somebody that you have trust in and is helping you work through your problems by listening. They don't have to offer advice. They can just listen. Now, psychologists, those people are whacked. I'm just saying. To all the psychologists out there, I love y'all, but y'all are cuckoo. And, but so get a therapist, somebody that you can talk to, somebody that you trust, somebody that you know is going to lift you up and hold you up, even when you don't think you can hold yourself up. Everybody needs one of those people in our corner, or 2 or 3 or 5 or 10. Everybody needs to be surrounded by people that you trust, that want the best for you, and that will hold you up even in the hard times. That's a friend. That's a therapist. That's what they do. So you've got your therapist. Now, how do you start working with them? Huh? You start opening up. All right. You start opening up by a little at a time. You start opening up a little bit at a time. And you know what? You'll feel that weight. You'll physically feel that weight start to lift off of you a little bit at a time, until all of a sudden you don't even realize it's there. Yeah, you've got these memories of the things that went on in your life, but now that you've aired them out, now that you've shared them, they don't affect you anymore. Don't let them affect you. Once they're out there, how scary is it? Once you've let it out and this person didn't judge you, this person trusted you, you trust this person, and they've held on to that trust by not judging you, not bringing you down, by lifting you up. It's not scary anymore. That trauma is not scary. Where'd it go? It's not scary anymore. So now what's the change? Why? You've just gone from being scared of your trauma, being scared of judgment because of your trauma, to all of a sudden you air it out and nobody's judged you. Nobody's thought bad about you. Nobody's thought different of you. So now what? Now what do? You grow. You live your life like you should. You live the life that you've wanted. You grow. We grow through trauma. We grow when we get uncomfortable in hard situations. We grow. We level up. We level up in life. We level up in happiness. We level up. We get an extra chance. We get an extra life. We level up. You're a game player, you level up. You're freaking whatever, you grow. You're a plant, you grow. You grow through your trauma. Our roots plant. Okay, so for all those green thumb people, what happens when you transplant a plant? They either die or they grow. They grow bigger, right? Because their roots all and you have to dig a bigger hole and they can expand and they grow bigger. It's a fact, So you can either be stuck in your trauma and stagnant and not doing anything and hurting those around you and bleeding all over everybody else, or you can start letting it go little by little. Now, if you're trying to work through your trauma, do it a little bit at a time. Do the least traumatic thing first. So, the thing that you remember that, it ain't so bad, but it's still on your mind. Talk about that first. Start little by little. You're going to build up trust to a therapist. And like I said, you already know what my take on a therapist is it's just somebody that you can count on, somebody that you can confide in, that wants to help you and lift you up. It's a friend, a family member, probably not if you're, family member, maybe a paid therapist. Who cares? Just people that are going to not judge you. That's it. I don't care who it is. Find somebody that you trust, that loves you just to love you as a human being, that wants, and give yourself grace. That's the big key word. It's freely given. I've got grace for free, and I'm going to give it out for free. Give yourself some grace as you're going through this. Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, it's going to be there's probably going to be setbacks. Who cares? You do it at your own pace, but don't use your trauma as an excuse to treat people like shit. Plain and simple. Don't do it. It's not worth it. You're just going to feel worse about yourself, and you're going to feel that you made this other person feel bad, or that you hurt this other person. You're going to feel worse about that. If you're a decent human being, you're going to feel worse about it. So don't let your trauma bleed and hurt somebody else. That means if you have kids, don't let your trauma hurt your kids. If you have friends, don't let your trauma hurt your friends. If you've got a significant other, don't let your trauma hurt that person either, because that's not fair to them. Just like it wasn't fair when it happened to you, it's not fair if it happens to them either. And only you, and I'm talking about everybody, only you can stop your own trauma from hurting anybody else. I can't do it. Your neighbor can't do it. Your sister, brother, mother, father can't do it. They can't do it. You can. You can stop it. You can put a stop to it right now. And that's by calling somebody up and say, hey, I got to talk to you. This has been on my mind and I need some help in this area. So can I talk to you about something that's really been bugging me, that I really am trying to let go? And once you speak it, once you verbalize it, once you get it out there in the world, guess what? It's not a scary place anymore. That trauma that in our head starts getting less scary. It starts getting less frightening. it starts holding us back a lot less. You know, once we get these small achievements, small victories, celebrate the small things. But once we start getting these small wins, it hurts less. It hurts less. Yes, the big ones, I don't want to talk about the big ones because they're so scary. I think somebody's going to judge me. I don't want to be judged. I want to just be who I am, right? If it's holding you back, talk about it. You'll find out quick who your friends are. And yeah, you might confide in the wrong person. You might, you'll never know until you try it. And if you have confided in the wrong person, shame on them. Still not your fault. Still not your fault. Shame on them. Because guess what? You went into the relationship honest and trusting and wanting a relationship. When I say relationship, it's just, real recognizes real. Absolutely. But shame on them if they're going to use you and just manipulate you into telling them your deepest, darkest secrets, and then all of a sudden use them against you. Shame on them. That's not a friend. That's an evil person. That's a traumatized person themselves. That's a person that thinks so low of themselves that they want to bring you down to make them look better. That's all. That's all that is. A traumatized person will do that. They will use all your information to bring you down. They will do that. I know it did, Haley. I know. And you just got to be very selective. Remember the people that stick around you. Remember the people that trust you. Now, they trust you because it's a give and take. Trust is a two-way street. If I'm trusting somebody else, they better damn well sure trust me too, or else it's never going to work. I can have all my trust and faith in one person, but guess what? If that person doesn't feel the same way about me, and it's 100% against 0%, and the 50 ain't going to work. You got to have trust in each other to move forward in your friendship, in your relationship. And relationship is anybody, and not just it's anybody. I lost my word. I don't know what I was trying to say, but a relationship could be anybody. Your neighbor, your friends, your loved ones. That's a relationship. Okay. And if you are scared to open up, there are a lot of line communications that support each other. Yeah, there is. Thanks, Ma. There is. There's a lot of online places, but really, how helpful is something online? Yes, this is a podcast, and yes, I'm online, and yes, you're listening online. I'm just giving you hints. I don't want you to call me up and tell me all your traumatic events. No, but you've got to build a relationship with these people before you just go into trauma. Here's all my trauma. It's all yours now. Here you go. All yours. I'm out. Peace. It doesn't work that way, because believe it or not, that person on the other end of the phone could just be a bunch of full of shit, and they're going to go back home, or go out to the bar, or go hang out with their boys or their girls. And you know what? I had a phone call today about this chick that was crazy. She was so crazy. Yeah. You think anybody wants that? No. And if you're somebody that's doing that, stop. And, because it's not right either way. Treat people the way you want to be treated. That's number one. And if somebody's confiding in you, be that confidant and don't talk about it. Even if you're tempted, don't do it. It does nobody good. Nobody any good. So here's the thing. Trauma is hard to work with. We all get that. We got trauma is hard to work with. Hard to deal with. Let it go. Just let it go. I wish it was that easy. It's like a bottle. You can't just let it go. I'm holding on to it because that's who I am. That's my trauma defines who I am now. I've lived this life filled with trauma, and I can deal with it. I don't want to let it go now because it's all mine. It's my trauma. I don't want anybody else to have it. Good. That's good. If you can survive like that and it's not bugging you, then fine. Hold on to it. That means it wasn't very traumatic. I mean, if it's not affecting you daily, fine. Hold on to that. Keep it. Bottle it up. Who cares, right? Why are you listening? If your trauma ain't that hard to deal with, why are you listening? Bye. But if it is that hard to deal with, then here's some steps you can take. Start talking, journaling, journal it out first. Once it's on paper and you can read it, it gets a little less scary also. You can burn that shit. Burn that piece of paper that you just journaled it on. Let it go. That's the first step. I'm a genie in a bottle. That's the first step, is let that shit go. You write it down, burn it, trash it, let it out into the universe. You let it out in the universe. It's helpful if you're with the right people. Very, very true. If you're not with the right people, you will be able to tell. They might have pulled the wool over your eyes for a long time, but you will be able to tell if you're not with the right people. It's just little small things that you'll tell. Those little small things you just got to keep track of and reveal only what you feel safe revealing. The things that ain't going to hurt you, that are not going to hurt you. Don't let everything out at one time, because that has the potential to come back and bite you in the ass because it's going to hurt you. Don't do that. But when you do find the right person, go slowly. Go slow. It doesn't have to be all at once. Just go slow, little bit by little bit. And eventually, if it's the right person, it's just going to start flowing naturally anyway. It's just going to, like you turned on a faucet and now you can't plug it up. You poked a hole in a dam and it's just going to all run out until you're empty, which that's what we're trying to get. We're trying to get us to be empty of all this trauma, empty. So you know what happens when you empty yourself of your trauma? You have room for good things. You have room to receive all this good now, because if you're so full of trauma that you can only receive that much good, it sucks. So when don't trauma dump on somebody. That's kind of mean sometimes, but go slow, and you'll find out that the slower you go, the easier it flows, the easier it's going to come out, the easier you're going to be able to let it out. And once you start letting it out, sometimes you're not going to be able to stop, but draw a line, stop yourself, because, sometimes you're just going to have to stop and maybe tell it 2 or 3 times until you're empty of that incident, that trauma. Until you're empty of it, you might have to tell it 2 or 3 times to get empty of it, to let it not affect you daily. Because if it starts affecting your day to day, or even, 2 or 3 days out of the week, if you're getting depressed, depression is thinking about the past, anxiety is thinking about the future. So to get rid of depression, quit thinking in the past. Plain and simple. That's all there is to it. If you're going to be depressed, that's thinking about past events. Anxiety is thinking about stuff that's going to happen in the future. Maybe. All right? So get rid of the depression. Let it out. Quit thinking about yesterday. Live for today. And guess what? Today is a blank slate. You go to sleep, you wake up, you have a blank slate. You know what you got to do. You've got a blank slate. What you decide to do is what you decide to do. How you feel yourself and how you feel your day is how you feel it. If you fill it with positive, good things, guess what? You're going to be a pretty positive, good day. If you decide to dwell on the negative and the yesterdays and, the bad things about the past, you can remember all the good shit you want, but remembering the bad stuff in the past, it's going to lead to depression. It's going to come out in your outward appearance, in your speak. It's just going to come out. So anybody learn anything? Just to let it go, or I'm just full of shit. But today is also September, which is National Recovery Month. It's also Suicide Prevention Month. So if you know somebody that is going through it, check on them. If you know somebody that's been depressed, is going through depression, just reach out and say, hey, how's it going? How are you? You want to go grab some coffee? You want to go grab a bite to eat? Hey, you want to take a walk out in the bright sun? It's 150 degrees out, but you still want to go outside and hit the ocean? Hey, you want to? Or you want to, just, hey, come over, I'll come over there, whatever, but reach out to people that that might be depressed. Let's prevent suicide. I think it's, if you're suicidal, males occupy most of the role of suicides these days. And people in substance use, I think, is a higher, like 4 times higher, that likely to commit suicide. And they're not going to talk about it. That's a person that's in suicide, going to commit suicide, is not going to talk about it. So reach out and talk to them. So on that, keep rocking your recovery. This is Jay, and I'm out. Bye.